Hello, I'm Steve Olson, a technical specialist with Autodesk. In this video, I'd like to talk about two different ways that you can share data between Autodesk Docs and Vault. Let's look at the two strategies in the context of a project where we're going to do the design of the building in Revit, and it's going to be stored in Docs, and a factory line that's going to be inside of that building that we're going to design in Inventor, and that design is going to be stored in Vault. So the first thing I have here is a Revit file. You can see it's in the cloud already. And I want to get this design into Inventor. And again, it's already in Docs. So I have two strategies here that I could use to make that happen. The first of which is something called Project Sync from Vault that will allow me to synchronize files from an Autodesk Docs site into my Vault that I can consume in some specific way, whether that be an Inventor or some other tool. That is done on the Vault side of things. So let's take a look at how that is set up. So in Vault, I can go up here to my tools, I can go to my administration, my Vault settings, and my collaborate tab. This is where I can set up some mappings between an Autodesk Docs folder and a Vault folder that the desktop connector and the job processor from Vault will work together to synchronize the files between the two locations. Just to take a look at how that is configured or set up, I have this Revit models mapping set up. You can see it's between my Revit models folder here in my structure, and that is to a specific folder in the cloud. If I go to edit here, you can see that I can map those two folders together, and then I can set up some sort of schedule of how it will then synchronize or when it will synchronize. I can also add some additional filters that will help it understand what it's allowed to synchronize versus what it shouldn't be. Once this is set up, here in Vault, I can go up here to the download from cloud drive. It will show me these mappings that I have set up. There's that folder, there's that specific file. I can say download, and what ends up happening here is in the job queue, we get a specific process that is set up to do the mapping or to pull that file in from Autodesk Docs. And then whenever the job processor picks this task up, it will then synchronize. And it also uses the desktop connector on the same machine to grab those files. Then on the Inventor side of things, if I have an assembly here, I can go up here to Vault, make sure I'm logged in, and then I can use my normal place command to place that file into an assembly that I could then use to do the design of the assembly line. And there it is. I can say open, and it will then take me into the normal import process that we would see for a Revit file coming into Inventor. Some of the benefits of doing this is that I have the ability to synchronize the two files. I can send that out to, maybe share this with someone that is outside of my organization, so I don't have to worry about getting them a Vault license into my Vault. It's a little bit easier collaboration with some external users, but then Vault does have the main control over it while it's in the Vault. And again, it will then synchronize between the two. Here, I'm managing all of my references in Vault. So it does have some additional benefits of having me better control. Inside of Vault, I have better track of the references or where it's used inside of the Vault. And just in general, Vault has better control over this. Let's look at another scenario. So I'm going to start a whole nother assembly here. So in this case, I don't necessarily have to use Vault. I can let Inventor understand that this is coming from a cloud file, or this file that I'm placing is a cloud file. And then when I take it into Vault, it still understands it's there. It doesn't necessarily need to pull it into my Vault, which in that case, I'm not getting these extra files in Vault. I'm kind of letting Docs manage the Revit file because it's going to be better at that than, say, Vault would be. Or I'm going to let Vault manage the Inventor references because that's what it's really good at. So how do I get to that file? So here I'll go up to my place. I'll place my imported CAD files. If I have the desktop connector installed on my system, you see I have an Autodesk Docs drive that I can pick from. It will show me that project. I'll drill down into where I had that file saved. So there's the building. I'm going to right click and I'm going to say place grounded at the origin. I don't need any additional versions of it, but you'll notice over here that it does have a cloud icon recognizing this is a cloud file. If I save this assembly and then bring something else in, I'll show you what that looks like going into the vault. So I'm going to skip the automatic file naming here. So now that assembly is saved, let's place an Inventor subassembly into here that represents one of the lines that we're going to put into this factory. So if I go up here to place, I can pick this 05 robot line, say open. And I'll position this into the factory layout. I only need one of them. Now again, notice how the robot line looks like a normal file. This looks like one that is a cloud file. If I go to my Vault tab here, you'll notice that it doesn't want to interact with that cloud file. Inventor is smart enough to understand, okay, this is an assembly file. It's going to go into Vault. The Revit file is a building file that's a cloud file that doesn't necessarily need to know that it's going into the Vault. The benefit to this is I don't have to bring as many building Revit files into my Vault, maybe creating more clutter or more structure that I need to worry about. And the system is smart enough to understand the differences. I can still get a bill of material out of this assembly. Still do all those things that I would normally do in Vault. The big difference is here the cloud file isn't going into Vault with the rest of the assembly. So in these two scenarios, I think the biggest question is, do you need the Revit file in the Vault? And if so, why is that? And if that's the case, no big deal. You can still pull that in with Project Sync. If you say, well, don't really see a strong need to bring that in. I can still do everything else I need. Then I'd say, you know what? Let Docs manage your Revit files. Let Vault manage your Inventor files. Both are really good at doing their individual task. And I think that's the best solution. Let each software play to its strength and let the other tool come along for the ride.